All right, let's go ahead and get started. Welcome back, everybody, to the Terry Hansen Show. On behalf of myself, Terry Hansen, and my wonderful co-host, Mr. and Mrs. Potato Head, we greet you warmly from Podunk, Potato Land, Idaho. It's good to be with you on this Friday morning. It's a beautiful day here in Idaho. Hope you guys are doing excellent. This is episode number 52. We're making great progress and just charging ahead. Today, we need to spend a little time talking about how you and I, as sales professionals and entrepreneurs, we need to release our grasp on this thing called good so that we can start enjoying more of the wonderful things called great. And as you guys know, I've got a habit of mine that I sure enjoy. Every morning when I wake up and I go into one of the rooms in my house, we've got some exercise equipment there, and usually I've got this routine of putting on some headphones and listening audiobooks or podcasts or watching YouTube videos while I exercise. And this morning was no exception. And one of the videos that one of the podcasts that I listened to was by one of my mentors and heroes, Russell Brunson. He's an online digital marketer that's well known. He and his company do, over 100 million in revenue a year. And as I was listening to him, one of the things that he talked about was actually retiring in his world, what he called his inner circle. Now, his inner circle is a coaching program. And not just anybody walks in the door and gets into the inner circle coaching program. First off, 100 people are only allowed in the inner circle coaching program. And to get in, it costs $50,000 per year to participate. And you also have to be doing at least $1 million in revenue in your company to be able to qualify to join. Now, if you do the math at $50,000 per year times 100 people in that coaching program that's been running now for 4 years, that's $5 million worth of revenue that he said that he is parking. He's pushing pause, and he's just going to put that on hold. Now, why would a business owner who's been enjoying a $5 million revenue stream from a certain offering decide to park that, push pause? Well, in his world, it was basically the only way that I'm going to get to be a billionaire with a B is by cutting back and simplifying and saying no to some millionaire things. The way to go from being a millionaire to a billionaire in his world was, in essence, to let go of some good things so that I can start enjoying some great things. And as I listened to him talk more about that, I started thinking about this concept. Bringing it back down to earth a little bit for you and I as entrepreneurs and salespeople and freelancers. What can you and I do to let go of some of the good things that we have built habits around so that we can start enjoying more of the great things in our life? And I'll give you a couple of examples of how this has played out in my life, this principle of letting go of the good so that we can enjoy more of the great, and how we can use that really to start building our revenue as salespeople and entrepreneurs and freelancers. So the first one is, and I don't share this story very often, but gosh, this has been years and years ago, 25 years ago, when I was about 22 or 23 years old. I was a competitive gymnast my whole life. And so I competed in all 6 Olympic events: the pommel horse, the floor exercise, the still rings, the horizontal bar, the parallel bars, and the vault, right? And so from the time that I was 8 all the way up until the time that I was 18, I competed at the local level, regional level, state level, regional level, and even at the national level as well. I went to the national championships 3 times, and it was great. Had a good several years of doing that. After that, my competition days had phased out. I actually auditioned and got cast as an acrobat and a stunt performer at Walt Disney World in Orlando, Florida. Now, back in 1998, Disney was opening up their 4th theme park at that time called Animal Kingdom. And if you've been to Animal Kingdom, then you know that they've got these kind of Broadway style shows that they put on. And one of the shows there was a kind of a theatrical rendition of the Jungle Book. It was called Journey into Jungle Book. And during, if you know the Disney movie Jungle Book, they've got a scene there where King Louie, who is obviously the king of all the orangutan monkeys there, they kidnap Mowgli and take him to the old ruins, and they have this whole "I want to walk like you, talk like you," routine there. Well, during that sequence, they had sunk a trampoline down into the stage floor, and it was my job as an acrobat to come tumbling onto the stage and do all these flips and twists and all these kinds of things and have a good time there. And so my job as an acrobat, it was a cake job. I would come on for just a couple of minutes during this 30-minute show, and I would start doing all these flips and twists. It was a great life. All the singers, all the actors, all the dancers, all the puppeteers, all the stagehands, they thought I walked on water. I was the only acrobat. I was the only gymnast. I was the only, stunt guy there in the show. And they thought I was something spectacular. I had a skill set that was different from anybody else's, and they thought I was pretty awesome. So did the directors and the producers, and that was great. And so I had a good life, and I did the park opened up, the show opened up, and we marched forward for several months. But I started getting to the point where I was like, this is good, but there's another show across the park called the Festival of the Lion King. And in the Festival of the Lion King show, they were doing a whole lot more cooler things. They had not only a trampoline set into the stage there, but they had trapeze and catch bars and rings and all sorts of stuff. And they were doing kind of a higher level group of stuff. And so all the stunt guys that I was working with, a lot of them were over at the other show. And I realized the show that I was at was good. And people loved me. I enjoyed it. It was easy. I was making fabulous money. But there was something bigger and better out there for me. And so I told some of the casting directors and some of the producers that I was really interested in going into the Festival of the Lion King show. I wanted something better. And so they auditioned me, and I was cast in that show. And so I left the Jungle Book show and went to the Lion King show. And I spent the rest of my contract doing that show, and it was fantastic. Sold out crowds every single night. And what was interesting is eventually the Journey into Jungle Book show was canceled. They did away with it. But now 25 years later, 2019, actually 21 years later at this, right? Whatever. At this point, the Festival of the Lion King show is still running, but the Jungle Book show is long since gone. But participating in the Lion King show was a huge blessing to me, opened up lots of doors, and it was a fantastic experience. And so, so just like Russell Brunson letting go of something good in his life that was making him money, I did the same and went to a different show. And it increased my opportunities and helped me achieve some even bigger and better things later on after my contract with Disney ended. And I went on to do some other things. Another quick experience that I'll share with you is fast forwarding several years. I had slowed down my time and experience in the entertainment industry, and I had jumped headlong into sales and marketing. And by that time, I was working for a company called Stanford Group Company. And they were in the financial industry, and I was traveling around the country doing some training and coaching with their financial advisors on different ways they could use financial products to market and promote their business. It was a salaried job. I worked at the 30th floor downtown Denver, and it was a cushy, posh corporate job. Loved it. They wined and dined me very well and paid me very well, and it was a great experience. But it was about that time in my life that I was starting to get a little itchy, and I was feeling like I've got more to offer in my life than just this. And I made the decision to jump out of the corporate world and start my own consulting and training company, focusing on sales and marketing. And so leaving something good to go after something great changed my life forever. That was well over 15 years ago at this point. And starting my own company changed absolutely the trajectory of my entire career, has impacted my family, my income, my lifestyle, and everything that has happened to me in the last 15 years. So sometimes when we have things that are good, there's nothing wrong with them. They're wonderful. But sometimes letting go of those good things so that we can go after great things can make all the difference for us in our careers. Now, after sharing those examples, let me bring it on back to you and I as an entrepreneur and as a sales professional. Sometimes in our selling process, we get into these habits and routines. For example, if we're a sales professional and we've built up a good book of business and we're working really hard, we've got lots of clients that we're servicing, sometimes our sales activity can turn into more of clerking, sales clerking, order taking. The phone rings, the email comes in, and we respond to it. A customer needs XYZ, and we give them a bid or a quote, and it closes, and it's great. We turn into more transactional in nature, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's very good. Those are sales that are ringing the cash register, and commissions and revenue is coming in. That's good. There's nothing wrong with that in any way, shape, or form. However, if we're going to take our sales revenue and our income to the next level and go from good to great, as Jim Collins in his book talks about, going from good to great. Our sales pipeline really is the key to that. Now, if you got something to write with, let's take some notes here. Our sales pipeline really is the key to becoming great and enjoying great things. The pipeline is basically a funnel when we are finding brand new opportunities to get into the sales process, and our ability to continually add good quality opportunities into that sales pipeline, into that queue, into the hopper, if you will, is where we start chipping away at some great things that we maybe have not been able to enjoy in the first place. So let's talk really quick in the time that we have left about a couple of strategies that I think are smart when it comes to putting increased focus on your sales pipeline. First, you cannot ignore your existing customers. You cannot ignore your existing customers. They're the lifeblood of your business. You've got to service them. You've got to take care of them. You've got to treat them right. You've got to upsell and cross-sell them so that they continue to get new and refreshed value out of your services and your products every single month, quarter, and year, etc. So you can't neglect them. However, by exclusively and only focusing on your existing customers, you do neglect your pipeline. No new opportunities from new companies that have never used you coming into your sales process. That doesn't get neglected. So somehow, some way, you've got to balance out attention to your existing customers and balance that out with new business development, generating new opportunities coming into your pipeline. Now, salespeople and entrepreneurs are some of the busiest people on the planet. So how do you do that? A couple of strategies. First off, leverage technology. Again, we've talked about this before. We live in a day and age where technology is a huge blessing to us, and we can take advantage and leverage tools and resources to help us do three things: simplify the work that we do, speed up the work that we do, and ultimately reduce the quantity of waste that we produce doing it. So simplify it, speed it up, reduce waste. So if we want to generate new opportunities coming into our sales pipeline, let's start looking at how we can leverage technology and best practices to do that. Okay? And we don't have time during this conversation to go into all of the tools and resources for that. But this is a call. This is a shout out to re-examine what's very good in your business, what's good in your sales, and how good might be, frankly, the enemy to great. Focusing only on what's good, settling for what's good, being comfortable with good, and continuing to be there is the enemy to great. It does handcuff and shackle you and prevent you from going to the next level of greatness. And in my experience, over 15 years of coaching and mentoring hundreds and hundreds of companies and sales teams and sales professionals all around the country, the key to great sales success is in your sales pipeline. So figure out a way to let go of the good and drift over to the great and start focusing more aggressively on building your sales pipeline. If you want a six-figure sales income, you have to have a six-figure sales pipeline. If you want $1 million business, you've got to have $1 million pipeline. You can't have one without the other. So start working at leveraging technology, email, social media, phone, face-to-face. Leverage some of those technology tools that help speed you up, simplify the work of prospecting and hunting for new business, and reducing the quantity of wasted efforts so that you can beef up your sales pipeline. So anyway, I wanted to share this whole concept about how you and I as entrepreneurs and sales professionals can start letting go of good things so that we can start enjoying more great things by shifting the focus and rebalancing out our efforts from only servicing our existing clients and becoming customer service representatives and sales clerks to becoming business consultants, business development experts, and finding new opportunities in the marketplace to feed into our sales pipeline. That has to be part of the equation if we're going to achieve great results. So it's great to be with you guys. Keep up the good work, and I'm excited to be with you back once again in the next episode of the Terry Hansen Show. And just as a reminder, if you haven't yet subscribed to this YouTube channel, go ahead and click the button subscribe and register for our complimentary sales training workshop online. You can go to salespitchmastery.com/register for complimentary tickets to the next workshop that we're doing. And as you know, we dive deep in that episode on 3 secrets that you can use to build a 6-figure sales income, even if you're brand new to selling, even if you're a lousy closer and not very good at selling anyway. I'll show you the tips and strategies that you can use. There's just 3 vital ones to do that very thing. So great to be with you. Keep up the good work. Have a wonderful rest of your weekend, and we'll see you on the next episode of the Terry Hansen Show. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.